So today we'll see two different topics related to. First topic is related to steering, and second topic is related to gearbox and steering. So for that purpose, I want to share my screen. So this topic is related to understeering and oversteering effects. So if the vehicle takes a turn, the centrifugal force acting on the vehicle, which produces a side thrust. So if we uh, take a turn on the road, then uh, or if we move any object, rotating any object, then the the fluid which is present, if we take the bucket and if we move that bucket in rotating direction, then the fluid, that is the water which contains in that bucket, moves from the center towards the outward direction, radially outward direction, and that is called as centrifugal force. Okay, so this direction is centrifugal force. While taking a turn, the centrifugal force acting on the vehicle, which produces a side thrust. But if centrifugal force is acting on that vehicle, then the side thrust gets act. Okay, to sustain that force, the plane of the wheel must make some angle with the direction of motion of the vehicle. So wheel plane, if we consider the plane of the wheel, so which makes the angle with the direction of motion of the vehicle. So sorry. So this is achieved by the distortion of the tire, which is flexible. This angle difference is achieved by the distortion, and which is due to the flexibility of that tire material. As the tire material is rubber, so due to that rubber material, the angle angle is present. For example, if we see this diagram, this is the cornering force and slip angle. If we consider, generally this is the vertical axis, and this is the tire axis. So direction of motion, this is the direction of motion, and if we take the angle between this tire axis and vertical axis, this angle is called as slip angle. And side thrust is acting like this. Okay, side thrust is shown in this diagram, and this is the cornering force. So in this case, if we see the slip angle, see this diagram. This is actually tire cross section, and this region is called as slip region. Okay, where the left side lines gets bent in inward direction, and here the contact patch is shown. This all is shown in blue color lines. So this is the contact patch. If we observe the diagram above this tire or above this region, that is slip region and contact patch region, so here Fy force is acting upward direction and some gap is present, and due to that perpendicular distance and Fy force, some movement takes place, and that movement becomes mz movement. So if we see here that this is the direction of heading, then this is the direction of travel, and the angle between direction of heading and direction of travel is called as slip angle, and it is generally indicated with symbol alpha. Okay, so the angle through which the wheel has to sustain the side force is called the slip angle, or it is also called as creep angle. In other words, if we see the angle between the direction of the motion of the vehicle and the center plane of the tire is known as slip angle. Okay, I repeat again, the angle between direction of motion. So in this case, direction of motion or direction of travel is this, and the center plane of the tire. If we consider this is the center plane of the tire, that is direction of heading, is the angle between these two lines are known as slip angles. It ranges from 8 degree to 10 degree. Okay, what is the range of this? This is the 8 degree to 10 degree range. Now next, if we consider the cornering force, the force produced due to this side thrust is known as cornering force. So cornering power is equal to side force sustained divided by slip angle. Now what is meant by understeer? When the front slip angle is greater than that of rear, the vehicle tends to steer in the direction of side force. Then it is known as understeer. Okay, so this is the understeer condition. When the front slip angle is greater than that of rear, the vehicle tends to steer in the direction of side force. So you see here in this diagram, if vehicle is turning on this road, but actually in place of turning that vehicle moves on the left direction. Okay, and this is due to the force, that is side force. Okay, this turns or this moves towards the side force. So in this case, side force is acting on the left direction of the vehicle or left side of the vehicle, and so that this vehicle moves towards the left side of the road. Then it is known as understeer. This is a situation where the understeering takes place. In this case, front wheel loses their, in first diagram, front wheel loses their traction and cause the car to go wide. Okay, so this is called as understeer. So in case of this, front wheel is not in the position where it is expected, and it loses the traction and causes the car to go wide. Okay, if we see the oversteer, what is the oversteer? This is actually opposite case to the understeer. See this diagram, second diagram again. So in this case, the vehicle is not turning towards the left, but vehicle is moving towards the right direction. When the rear slip angle is greater than that of front slip angle, the vehicle tends to move away from the direction of center path. Okay, so direction of center path, we know that in that diagram, and from that direction of center path, the motion of the vehicle takes place away, and this is known as oversteering. Okay, in first diagram, the rear tires lose grip and causing the rear end of the vehicle slides out. Okay, and this is the comparison, understeer and oversteer, or this is the pictures which is related to understeer and oversteer. So see here, the vehicle moving or turns in the left direction, and in this case, vehicle turns on the right direction. So in this way, we'll see what is meant by understeer and oversteer. Now we'll see the steering gearbox. The next topic is steering gearbox. So in this case, to make the steering of the vehicle easy, we required a gear reduction arrangement. For this purpose, steering gearbox came in use. So if we see the gear location, this is the gear location. Actually, this is the steering column. A lot of linkages are available, and at the end of the steering column, here steering gear is located. Okay. Next, if we see the next point, that to change the rotary motion of steering wheel into straight line motion. Actually, when we turn the steering wheel, then we actually moves that wheel in rotary direction, but we want that motion to convert into straight line motion. Okay, so for that purpose, it is required to minimize the effort of the vehicle steering. Okay, it also minimizes the effort of vehicle steering, and variation of gear ratio from 12:1 to 30:1. Okay, so large range is available for the gear ratio, that is from 12:1 to 30:1. This is the gear ratio. If we see the different types, then types becomes worm and worm wheel type is available, then worm and nut type is available, then worm and nut then recirculating ball type is available, and rack and pinion, these types are available. So in this case, rotary motion is converted into linear motion. So worm and worm wheel, worm and nut, recirculating ball type, rack and pinion. If we see the first type, that is worm and worm wheel steering gear, this is the diagram. So this is the actually this rod or this worm is connected towards the steering wheel. Okay, and this is shaft. Actually, worm is available here in the inner side. So this shaft is directly connected to the steering wheel. Okay, or steering wheel column. Then this is the casing. Worm axle is there. Sorry, worm axis is available here. This worm is connected to the worm wheel. Okay, and after that, this is the square type of shaft. This is drop arm. So worm and worm wheel steering gear. This is the worm and worm wheel steering gear. There are square threads or worms on the steering rod end, which engages in a worm wheel. So worm wheel is connected to a drop arm. See this diagram here. Drop arm is provided. So worm wheel is connected to the drop arm. When driver rotates the steering wheel, drop arm moves forward or backward, resulting in motion of stub axle. Okay, so stub axle is located in here. So that motion is transmitted towards the stub axle. When driver rotates the steering wheel, drop arm moves forward and or backward, resulting in motion of stub axle. The arc movement of the drop arm is usually from 60 to 90 degrees. This system is commonly used in tractors. Okay, this is useful in tractors. If we see the next, that is worm and nut. Okay, second type is worm and nut. So in this case, this is the diagram, worm and nut steering gear. This is actually connected towards the steering wheel. Then at the end of this column, worm is available and worm is attached to the nut. The nut is connected to the cross shaft and this is the drop arm. So steering rod end have worm. Worm is connected with a nut arrangement. When worm rotates, the nut is able to move. This movement is along the axis of column, either up or down. This moves the cross shaft in arc, which also moves the drop arm. This is used in steering all wheels. Then next type, if we see the worm and roller gear have two teeth roller which are fastened to the cross shaft called roller shaft or sector shaft. If you see this diagram, this is the cross shaft, this is the housing, then this is the roller bearing, this is the worm, steering shaft and roller. This is the arrangement of this system. The threads of the worm gear are meshed with the roller shaft at the end of the steering tube. Diameter of worm is greater at the end and reduced at the center. When the worm shaft is turned by the steering tube, the roller will also be moved in an arc for rotating the roller shaft. The bearings are designed to resist both radial and end thrust, used in Leland and American passenger cars. It is useful there. The next is recirculating ball type system. So in this case, if we observe this diagram, so here lock nut is provided. Then this part is called as worm thrust bearing. And in between this lock nut and worm thrust bearing, this portion is called as worm shaft adjuster plug. That is preload adjustment is available here. This is balls and guides. Balls are present here. Slots are available. Okay, in between that slots, balls are circulating. This is the worm shaft. This is the sector shaft. This is the ball nut, worm thrust bearing. There is the seal. Okay, so this is related to recirculating ball type arrangement. It consists of a worm at the end of steering rod. Okay, worm is attached at the steering rod end. A nut is mounted on the worm with two sets of balls in the grooves of the worm. Ball reduces the friction between nut and worm. Main purpose is that the friction is less in this case. The teeth of the nut is meshed with teeth of the worm wheel sector to which the drop arm is mounted. By turning the steering wheel, the balls in worm roll in the grooves and cause nut to move along the length of the worm. Ball circulates through the guide. Okay, in this case, balls are circulating under the guide weights. Guide weights are provided that slots are nothing but guide weights. So from that guide weights, balls are circulating. Movement of nut causes the wheel sector to turn and actuate the link rod through the drop arm, resulting in desired steering of wheels. Teeth on the nut are tapered to minimize the wear used in Tata Standard 20 vehicles. The next is there is rack and pinion arrangement. So this is pinion, and this pinion is attached with the again steering column. Rotation from the steering wheel comes on the pinion, and that pinion rotates, and due to that rotation, the pinion transmits the rotating motion into linear motion from that rack and pinion arrangement. So rack is attached, and on that rack, linear direction motion takes. We are getting okay. Then next, if we see a pinion is mounted at the end of steering gear shaft. So pinion is engaged with rack which have ball joints at the end for rise and falls of the wheels. On revolving pinion, rack moves to and fro. Okay. So when pinion revolves, then rack moves to and fro motion. Due to this movement, tie rod and stub axle also moves and we get desired steering. This system is popular in small cars like Maruti 800. Its gear ratio is limited by the diameter of steering wheel and pinion gear, hence can't use it in heavy vehicles. Okay, so in this way, we'll finish this topic also. So today we'll see understeering. Today we discuss about the what is the meaning of understeering. Then the oversteering is that, and after that we see the different types of gears used in steering arrangement. Okay, so these are the today's discussion. So in this way, we finish our lecture. Thank you.